Well, I was muted. LOL. But, I was thinking all week, when am I going to start my podcast? Me, my cousin, we've been thinking all week when we were going to start our podcast. He's starting up his podcast here soon, but he's not going to be talking sports. Well, he will talk sports, but mostly he'll be talking about other stuff than sports. But for me, I want to most likely be talking about sports because that's my dream, is to talk about sports with you guys. And I hope you guys are here with me throughout this journey. As you know, I'm sitting here last night. It was probably 12 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking of what to talk about for my very first episode of, Dude, that's cool. I'm in this group chat with someone, and this guy's eating dinner with Lamonte Turner. But, like I was saying, I hope you guys are here with me throughout this ride for my podcast. Because today, on my very first episode, I got some stuff to talk about. Tennessee stuff. Hopefully, all my, Tennessee supporters that's on TikToks, will come by and watch me and listen to me. But, I have some notes here. I have some notes. If I can, somehow bring all this in. No, we don't want to do that. No, stop your garbage. Come on, just work with me. Work with me now. Come on, just work with me. All I care about. Okay, you know what? That's fine. I just want. What does this do? Whatever. Wait, what? Okay, I don't know what's going on, but. Okay, but my very first episode. My very first episode will be kind of shaky, but it's a progress. And I hope you guys are going to be here to enjoy it with me. But with that being said, let's get on to it. As you know, I'm looking through my notes here. The very first thing I'm going to talk about today is basically Tennessee sports. Because a lot of my followers on TikTok is basically Tennessee fans. They follow me. They always ask questions of Tennessee, what I think will happen. And I'm always thinking there's still players that might transfer from the University of Tennessee because they don't fit the scheme, or they just want to go look somewhere else because they just don't want to be there. They're just not feeling the vibe. And I honestly feel like, as of right now, there might be maybe 4 more players I think that will leave. I'll say that. And those players, I'm not going to mention their names, but I'll say this. I expect 2 on the defensive side. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Then 2 on the defensive side probably. And I'll say about probably 3 or 4 on the offensive side. 1 with the grades not doing so well. 2, one player on the offensive side of the ball. I heard grades are not doing well, so I expect him to, if he doesn't pick up his grades, I expect him, to probably go to JUCO. But, like I said, I expect 4 people on the offensive side of the ball probably end up leaving, or 2 on the defensive side. That's what I'm hearing. But, if they do leave, I wish them the best, because, you don't want anything bad for the players to leave. Because usually every time, I don't know why, but every time players, I just realized I got my music playing still. I'm so sorry. But every time I realize this, players that always leave Tennessee to go end up playing somewhere else, they always end up having good or decent careers at that next school they end up playing for. Because you look at Preston Williams, he was a five-star receiver at Tennessee. Butch Hartley played him. Transfers to I think it was Colorado, if I'm mistaken. I think it was Colorado. Ends up, doing really good there. Get playing time, scoring touchdowns. Gets drafted by the Dolphins, which he is, I think, played. He actually had some playing time last year for the Dolphins, if I can remember. Then you got Jalen Hurd. Went to Baylor. Got some playing time. Got drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, but cannot stay healthy for the 49ers. Trying to think of other players for right now. A big, huge name that's transferring out of Tennessee is Henry To'oTo'o. There's rumors going around that he's going to Ohio State. I think if he goes to Ohio State, he'll be maybe a second rounder. With the way he's able to build, I think he'll fit well in Ohio State's scheme. Trying to think of other players that's transferred. Oh, Ferguson. He went to Memphis. He had a decent career in Memphis. Nathan Peterman, played a couple of games under Butch. Didn't go so well. Transferred to Pittsburgh. Played really well at Pittsburgh. Upset against Clemson, if you guys remember that. Trying to think of, there's what I'm honestly just saying, players that end up transferring from Tennessee go to these other schools and end up doing well. For some reason, that's always something to be like, oh, why couldn't, the coaching staff or the coaching staff clicked on the wrong one. The coaching staff, or why couldn't these players, end up doing well here and not helping us? But at the same time, it's the coach's decision to develop them, to push them, to make them the players that they ought to be. But in my opinion, I expect, a couple more players to transfer, because there's rumors going around. There's a couple more players looking to transfer. I expect, 2 on the defensive. I think 2 on the defensive side of the ball will probably transfer. Then I expect about 4 on the offensive side to transfer, maybe. That's rumors I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. It's not official, but it's rumors going around. But speaking of transfers, Tennessee is the transfer U right now. They are getting players from the transfer portal. Josh Heupel said after the spring game that he's going to be hitting the transfer portal really, really hard after the spring game, because with all the players that end up leaving when Heupel got signed to be the head coach at the University of Tennessee. So there's a lot of spots. I think there's like 3 to 4 spots open left that we can fill, if I'm correct. If y'all remember, Tennessee brought in Juwan Mitchell from Texas. He's the linebacker. I expect him to be a immediate impact for us at the linebacker position, because we are really, really super thin at the linebacker position. So I expect Juwan to come in, make immediate impact, to be a leader in the linebacker room. I expect him to make everyone around him a better player. From what I've seen and heard about him, he's a terrific leader. He plays hard. He makes everyone around him play better also. So I expect Juwan Mitchell to bring an immediate impact to this defensive team. Now, do I expect, the defensive team, the defense side of the ball, to be really improved? And not really. But I expect, this team to grow as the season goes on this year. With, these coaches, these coaches that's on the defensive side of the ball, they know what they're doing. I think Heupel is going to let them, have the keys, let them coach and not, tell them what to do, micromanage, I'll say. I think Heupel is going to be like, okay, I'm going to let you guys do whatever you guys want to on the defense side of the ball, and you guys coach these players the way you guys want them to coach. So I'm not too worried on the defense side of the ball. Like I said, it's going to be a growing pain. It's going to be a growing into the season, as I should say. We should see growth going into the season. The next one was the QB Joe Milton from Michigan. I honestly expect him to compete for the QB starting position. Honestly, in my opinion, the QB battle will honestly be between Joe Milton and Harrison Bailey. Because you wouldn't bring in another QB if you don't think the other QBs you have in the room's ready. Because what I'm hearing is the QBs that was already there when Heupel got there, they weren't properly. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Weren't properly trained right. Like Pruitt and Winky, they did not develop them really well. Like they probably didn't practice at all. What I'm hearing, they didn't develop them, give them the right techniques to be really good QBs. So Heupel is, developing these QBs because Heupel is a QB. He's a QB guru. He can coach the QBs, as I should say, because he has a good QB resume. He coached Sam Bradford, Drew Lock. That's some two QBs that he drafted, if you guys can remember. But I expect Joe Milton and Harrison Bailey to battle it out when it comes to summer workouts and to fall. This fall. But I'll get into to the QB battle here shortly. Then we had Caleb Tremblay, the defensive line from UAC. Honestly, I'll look at him. I'm like, it's a body on the defensive line. I expect him to start on the defensive line. He won't be like what should I say? Trying to think of let's just say he'll start. He won't be he's good. We'll say that. We'll just say he's good. He'll bring what Gardner will bring for him. Like Gardner will bring the best out of Caleb. There he is. Let's just say that. Caleb is actually a good get from the transfer portal. And what the funny thing is, like I said, I was, making these notes for today's podcast. I should say not today's. I was typing down some players you should keep an eye out for in the transfer portal. And one of the names was a receiver from Javonte Payton, the receiver from Mississippi State. I said we should keep an eye out on, which we did end up getting today. A really, really good get for Heupel's offense. I think he'll be receiver number 2 between Velvis Jr. and I think the starting receiving core will probably be Velvis, Payton, and Hyatt. I expect those be the starting 3 receivers for us in the fall. They say Velvis and Payton will probably be the best 2 receivers that we have right now since Payton committed to us. Payton, honestly, he's big, he's tall, he's fast. He runs a 4.43. That's really fast for us. Because for Heupel's scheme, you got to run fast. Like, it's non-stop running for Heupel's speed altogether. But I expect Peyton to come in this year to bring in, some. I expect Peyton to, bring the pressure off of Elvis and Hyatt this fall. I expect the receiving room to get better this fall. Burns will bring the best out of everyone. I think Burns will help bring in some really good receivers. In my opinion, I think we're leading for Isaiah Horton. I heard Burns is pushing hard for Isaiah right now. Because Isaiah, was leaning toward Bama. He came to the open practice. Then he came to spring. I think I heard that he liked the open practice and spring practice. So I think Isaiah is leaning toward us. I'll say that. But some, back to the transfers. Some other notable names I think you should keep an eye out for is Jaron Handy, the defensive line from Auburn. Jordan Anthony, the linebacker from Michigan. I heard that, he wants to come here, but the staff hasn't contacted him. So keep an eye out for Jordan Anthony, the linebacker from Michigan. And I think Chris Thompson, we should keep an eye out on. Or the cornerback from Clemson, Perkins. I think you should keep an eye out for him. Johnson, you should keep an eye out for him. I think anybody from the defensive side of the ball, if we get another two people from the defense side of the ball, it would probably be, I'd say another defensive line and probably someone in the secondary, probably, if I had to guess. But overall, right now we are the transfer U because we are bringing in some top. I won't say top dogs. We are bringing in some pretty good prospects to help us for this upcoming year. I won't say we'll win every game or we'll win like 8 games, but I expect us to compete this year. I expect us to not get blown out by like last year, but I expect us to have fun, to compete with the other teams, with everyone that we're bringing in, because the people that we are honestly bringing in right now, we're not done. I don't think we're done. I think we bring in more people before fall gets here. I'll say that. But the people that we are bringing in right now is going to help our team be better than what it was before spring practice started, before Heupel got here, because everyone was leaving when Pruitt got fired. Everyone was getting released from their NLIs. But like I said, the players that we are bringing in right now, I expect to make this team better, and I expect coaches to bring the best out of these players. I'll say that. Then the next thing I'm going to start be talking about is what's my very first. What are my thoughts on Heupel's very first spring as the head coach? From all the videos I've watched, the Jews, the just videos that the University of Tennessee will produce. I'll watch. I'll watch everything. I'll look close to details. I'll look to see if the players are having fun, or what's the vibes I'm getting. Honestly, from what I'm seeing, the vibes are amazing from what I'm seeing for Coach Heupel's very first spring. He's bringing, everyone's saying a family atmosphere. That's saying everyone. It's a family atmosphere. That's all the coaches say. But for me, it's like Heupel is always bringing in a family atmosphere. It seems fun. It's not military like Pruitt has. It seemed like when Pruitt was here, it was basically military. There's no fun. It was just football, eat, sleep, repeat, basically. But for Pruitt, for Heupel, it's fun. It's all fun. Practice. Have a really good practice. A meaningful practice. But at the same time, after play like dodgeball or something like it did in one of the videos, because Heupel is bringing that fun characteristic back to the team, the vibes. Like all the videos I've watched, the players are happy, they're cheerful. They just seem like they're having a good time. The vibe there on the football team looks a lot better than it was from last year when Pruitt was here. Let's just say that. Because Heupel, every year we go through, it seems like we're going through different coaches every 4 years, because it's true. Every 4 years we're going through a new coaching change every year. And it's always changing the environment. But Pruitt, like when Pruitt got there, he had to change the environment after Butch, because Butch was Butch. I didn't like Butch. Then when Pruitt was here, he basically cheated with the McDonald's bags, because we were memed for like 2 weeks because McDonald's bags. Pruitt was paying recruits with McDonald's bags. Then Heupel had to come in, clean everything up. We're at the bottom of the dump. We're in a dumpster right now. So Heupel comes in and basically has a clean. I am tongue-tied right now. A clean sheet of paper, basically. He's coming in, doing everything right. He's bringing a fun, exciting environment. Like I said, the players look like they're having fun. They're enjoying themselves. The coaching staff looks like they're having fun. Looks like Heupel looks like he's honestly brought into this university. He wants to bring the university back to what it originally is. Am I saying will Heupel be the guy? No, I'm not saying Heupel's the guy. But I want Heupel to succeed here. I want Heupel to succeed here. I want him to bring us out of the depths, because we're not near Georgia, Florida, Bama, and those top SEC schools. I think right now we are in the bottom with like Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri, Vandy. We're down there. Like, I hate to say it, we are not up there with Florida, Bama, Georgia, and all those really good schools in the SEC, because every 4 years, it's like we're going through a coaching search every other 4 years, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So, as I'm watching Heupel's very first spring as a coach for the University of Tennessee. I honestly give him an A+. I honestly give him an A+. Very first spring as a head coach for the football team, I give him an A+. Why I give him an A+? Because he looks like he's not here for the money. He's not here, basically a last resort like Pruitt was for Fulmer. He looks like he's honestly here he wants to bring us back to what we truly are. He looks like he's bought in. He wants this university to succeed. He went to the baseball game, and he looked like he had fun. He looked like, he was enjoying himself. But he always tweets out congrats to the other teams the other baseball teams, softball teams, or any other athletics that end up winning whatever they are doing. He always tweets at them. He always wants just the whole entire university to do well. He seems like he's bought in. There was a video of Heupel in the locker room of the team. It was before the spring orange and white spring game. The team was running out, and he was like in the middle. He slaps the "I give my all for Tennessee" Like, he truly seems like he is honestly bought in right now. Because honestly, I keep on, I keep telling people this. I think Heupel will be our Dan Mullen to Florida. Dan Mullen came in. He's a QB guru. He has a high power offense. I'll say that. He scores on offense. So I think Heupel is our Dan Mullen. He'll come in. He'll develop our QBs. Our offense will be electric. Like, he's gonna let our QB sling it. I think there will be games. I think we'll average at least 5. Our QBs will average 300 some yards in passing game. But like I said, he's going to let our QB sling it. He's not going to, hold their hand and be like, you can't do this, blah, 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 blah. But no, he's going to let our QB sling it. He's going to let them be them. Making sure not getting no comments. But I hope Heupel succeeds here. I'm like, at first when Heupel was the coach, I wasn't bought in. I was afraid because, I'm like, I'm not going to be bought in for the next new head coach, because every time I'm bought in, something always wrong with him. But every time I watch a video, I hear Heupel speak, he just keeps pulling me in. I just hope, honestly, Heupel does really good here. Heupel seems like a nice guy. But overall, I think right now, I think today, right now, I'm going to take a good quick break real quick. So, as of right now, I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. I had to go and get a drink of water. But you know what? I think, like I said, my very first podcast, it's gonna be a little rocky. It's gonna be a little rough, I know, but you guys are gonna have to stand by. You're gonna have to stand by off my podcast. But I hope you guys come with me throughout the process of me doing my podcast when I go live. There will be some times, like I said, I will record, or then there will be sometimes I'll go live like I am right now. But like I said, this is my very first episode of the NWO, because I've always wanted to do a podcast. But let's get back to talking Tennessee sports. Now, earlier, I was talking a little about the QB room with Joe Milton coming in. Let's talk about the QB battle real quick. In all honesty, I think the QB battle will honestly be between Joe Milton and Harrison Bailey. I think Harrison Bailey, coming out of the spring game, he has a little edge over Joe Milton as of right now, because we haven't really seen nothing out of Joe Milton. The only thing we've seen from Joe Milton was highlights of him and playing in Michigan, and his best game was coming from Indiana, even though he had 2 picks in that game. But I expect Heupel to develop him better than Harbaugh is. Some reason Harbaugh always brings in these 4 or 5 star quarterbacks, but ends up doesn't do anything with them, because Joe Milton, he had a lot of high praise coming out of high school. He was like the next Cam Newton or something like that, if I can remember. But but with Joe Milton coming to Tennessee, I think Heupel will make him a better QB than he is, a better decision maker than he was at Michigan. Honestly, I expect a QB to transfer out of the QB room. I expect at least 2 to transfer, maybe. I think 2 will transfer, maybe 1 out of the QB room. But I think the QB battle will be honestly between Joe Milton and Harrison Bailey this month. I always forget to keep turning my music off. I gotta remember that next time I do that. But I think it's going to be between Harrison Bailey and Joe Milton, like I said. Harrison Bailey with a slight edge over over Joe Milton, because Harrison Bailey looked like he was the better QB out of Hooker and Mauer at the Orange and White spring game. I heard Bailey had his moments during spring practices this year. He showed some consistency, but he had his moments. But during the spring game, he was playing against the ones on defense, and he was with basically the third string, and he was throwing absolute beauty of dimes out there. And that what makes me think Bailey, as of right now going into fall camp, that he has a slight edge over Milton. But I think it goes Harrison Bailey, Joe Milton, and Hooker. Hooker and Mauer's right there. Honestly, Hooker did not, surprise me at all, or he didn't show like he would fit Heupel's scheme, if you would say. I don't know if they were holding him back, or I don't know if he was trying, or I don't know what was wrong with Hooker at the Orange and White game. But I just didn't see enough out of him to be QB1 for us going into fall camp, or for the very first game, I'll say that. But the other QB was Brian Maurer. Maurer, he showed some flashy passes. He showed what he can do when he's on the go, when he's running. The thing about Maurer, he's inconsistent. Let's just say that. If he can honestly be consistent, he goes in to every practice, be consistent, not throw 2 interceptions like every practice, or have a bad practice, just inconsistent, have a good practice through every day until the very first game, he would be honestly our starter week 1. But he cannot stay consistent, is to what I am hearing. Let's just say that. Plus, for me, he cannot stay healthy. It's like every time last year, he just couldn't stay healthy. He could not get on the field because he was always injured or something. But so and then we don't know about Salter yet. We don't know if he's going to rejoin the team, or if he's going to end up leaving like the other players that got in trouble. No one knows what he's going to end up doing yet. But so I think it's going to be between Bailey and Milton for the QB battle this fall. In my opinion, I hope Harrison Bailey wins it, because honestly, I was a Harrison Bailey fan when he signed his letter of intent to UT. I was hyped when we got him, because I was watching him play on TV. I was watching him on ESPN, and he just yes, he had an absolute weapon in Gilbert at the receiver end in high school. That did help a lot, but just the deep balls that he was throwing was absolute beauty. Like it was just right there in their hands, like in stride. It was absolutely beautiful. So I was honestly, cheering for him. I think honestly, if last year, if he would have got a full spring in, a full fall in, I think he would have been our QB1 over JG, because JG was just absolutely horrific. He was just horrible. Let's just say that. But I think if I was Coach Heupel, I would give the keys to Harrison Bailey. Let him go out every Saturday. Just let him sling it. Let him do him. Like you said, like you guys said that like he said he was going to do. Just let the QB sling it. Let them beat them. Not going to hold their hand while they're out there. He's just going to let them sling it. So if I was Heupel, I would honestly just give the keys to Harrison Bailey going into fall camp and to game number 1. That's what everyone else is saying. Like, the experts are like, before Harrison Bailey even got to campus his freshman year, a lot of experts are saying that he was college ready already. He was probably NFL ready already. That some experts were saying. I can't remember who was saying it, but I was reading somewhere on Twitter or an article saying that Harrison Bailey was already college ready. He was already there. He should be QB1 as soon as he got there. But we couldn't tell because COVID shortened that. COVID shortened the season. Not season, but shortened practice. Wasn't able to practice at all. So he didn't get a full entire freshman season spring game. So if I was Heupel, like I said, I would give the keys to Harrison Bailey. I think Harrison Bailey should be QB1 for us. Like I said, the QB battle will be between Harrison Bailey and Milton. And I hope, honestly, Harrison Bailey gets the QB1 for us this fall. Let's make sure no one's in the chat types anything. Okay, good. Making sure. I got to fix that. But as, going into the fall with this team, there is some sleepers on this team. Let's just say that there is some sleepers, playmakers on offense and the defense side of the ball. I'm, excited to watch. I think on the defense side of the ball, I think you got to go with Byron Young, the defensive end player. I think he's a sleeper to watch on the defensive side of the ball. I think you got to watch for Nico Slaughter. I think he's really slept on when it comes to on the defense side of the ball also. Who's another sleeper on the defense side of the ball? I think Tyler Barron. He showed some flashes last year under Pruitt. I think he will thrive under Gardner and Eckler this year. But I think the most slept on defensive player will honestly be I think it will be Byron Young. I think Byron Young shocked some people. Him or Morvin Joseph, the linebacker. I think him and Byron will honestly be the sleepers on the defensive side of the ball for this upcoming season. Then, on the offensive side of the ball, I think the whole entire running back room is honestly a sleeping because you got Evans. Evans hardly played in the orange and white game. When he did, he showed somewhat. I think the coaches didn't want to risk of him getting injured. Jabari Smalls, man, he is just a bulldog. He's just a small bulldog. He's tough. He'll run over you when he gets the chance. Like, he's not afraid to put his shoulder pads down and just run you over. That's what I like about Jabari Smalls. Then you got Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright, I think, is a steal for us. Jalen Wright will thrive in Heupel's offense, I think. I think he will. I won't say right now, but, I think he will have a better career than Eric Gray had here. Let's just say that. Then you got D. Beckwith. I think D. Beckwith, I hope he ends up getting a lot of playing time this year. Like, he has Derrick Henry type build. Like I always keep comparing him to Derrick Henry just cause his body build and just the way he looks and runs. He honestly looks just like Derrick Henry the way he was in high school. But like just the whole entire group right there is just a sleeper, I think, in my opinion. Is the whole entire running back class is just sleeping. Because I'm excited to see what that room does. Because I mean I don't got no favorites because I honestly like everyone that's in the running back room. I like Jalen Wright, what I've saw from him in the Orange and White game. I'm a huge D. Beckwith fan. I like Evans. Jabari Smalls, man, he's just a bulldog, man. He will run you over if you're in the middle of him. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder. And I think Jabari Smalls and Wright, they fit Heupel's scheme. But I also think Evans and Beckwith, they will be better and they will find their way into Heupel's scheme. Let's just say that. But overall, Smalls and Wright, I think, will end up getting the playing time, a lot more playing time than the other two I've mentioned because they're a lot faster and they can get out to the side quick. Then honestly, that's all really my sleep. I think that's just the sleepers on the defense side of the ball I've mentioned and the offense side of the ball. Just overall, this season, this year, I'm just excited. Like, they'd announced finally, there was rumors going around that, Tennessee was expected to go full capacity this fall. Now, it was announced sometime today that they are going to full capacity this fall. So I will be going to all the home games, and I'm excited to be back in Neyland. I was supposed to be going there last year, but I wasn't due to COVID. So I was able to roll over my tickets to this year, which I am super excited for, because I get to see some friends I met. I'm in this group chat with. Hopefully I meet up with some of them. Making sure no one put in the group chat. But overall, I'm honestly excited for this whole entire season. I think Tennessee overall I think they win 5 to 6 games. 7 is pushing it. But overall, I think Tennessee wins 5 to 6 games this year. I think I'm not going to, get my hopes up too much this year because it's Heupel's first year. But, Heupel will bring excitement to the offense because, last year it was just boring. I'm not going to lie. Last year's offense was absolutely boring. Like, I was, usually during, Dooley's and Butch Jones there, I wasn't on my phone during the offensive when we had the ball on the offensive side of the ball because, they actually scored. Like, Dooley's, here that he had, God, what's his, I can't remember the QB, Tyler Bray and Justin Patterson, their last year. Like, that offense was honestly fun to watch. It was, a lot of, trick plays, and it was air raid almost. Then Butch Jones, his man, it was predictable, but it was somewhat fun in 2016 when he had Dobbs and everyone. But when Pro was there, the offense was just honestly boring. It was just not throwing it deep. It was always throwing it behind the mark. It was always run down the throats, which never worked because the teams would just basically stop us. He would play old man ball, let's just say that. But overall, I am excited to see what this offense brings to the table this fall. But I'm not going to give our hopes up. Like I said, I think we win 5 to 6 games for us this year. But other than that, I think that's it about Tennessee football. Really, Tennessee basketball. really, there's not much to talk about. It was kind of a disappointment with 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 the team that we had. Fulkerson really didn't live up to the hype last year. We all thought he would honestly do something last year, but ended up not doing nothing really. Didn't help us really at all. He did end up coming back for this for his final season, for his senior season, because NCAA passed a one-time rule for all seniors that's wants to stay back and play, they can, and he decided to stay. Kenyon Johnson was probably overall the best player on the team. He ended up, leaving, going to the draft. Springer, I think Barnes honestly held back Johnson and Springer's talent, because I feel like they could have done so much more. Sorry. I feel like they could have done so much more if Barnes didn't hold him back. So going into the offseason in basketball, all the fans I heard on Twitter saying Barnes need to do a remake, like basically whole entire 360 change of his staff, or whatever you want to call it. Just basically go from the inside out, just redo it. And that's what he did. It's like he heard everyone talk or say, it's like the thoughts were going in his head. But overall, he did. He went into the postseason. Well, not postseason, off season. He had 2 assistants leave. Then he got 2 assistants back. I think these assistants are what bring. I'm excited to see what these assistants bring to the table. We had a whole entire roster transformation from last year. We had some players transfer and leave. I wish them the best. I wish Gaines and Pember the best. Gaines, he had that one game that cost us the SEC in the SEC game, but I wish him the best. Overall, then we bring in Powell from Auburn, a really good 3-point shooter, cause we need a 3-point shooter if we're going to compete in the SEC or in, let's just say, NCAA period. Cause last year our 3-point shooting wasn't that great. It's never that great, cause Rick Barnes, he likes to play old man ball. He doesn't like to play fast pace. He likes to play old man ball, just pound it in down low. But with Powell, with Kennedy, I think Kennedy, Chandler, and Powell is going to be a good wings. I'm excited to see what Powell brings to the table. Then we got the reclassification of Huntley. I'm excited to see what he brings. Trying to think of the other people that we got, but overall, Barnes transformed this team that he had last year into a whole new team, and I think this team will be better than last year's team. I expect this team to compete for the SEC championship. I think if Barnes doesn't compete for the SEC championship, or if he's not into SEC championship this year, something has to be up with Rick Barnes, because this team is honestly probably the second best team that he's had since it's not the best team since Schofield and Grant. I'll say that. But I think it's the second best team that he's probably had since Schofield and Grant, because this team that he had with Schofield and Grant is the best team that's ever probably he had. But the team that he has right now is the second best team. If he does not go into the SEC championship, or at least make it past the Sweet 16, something has to be we're paying Rick Barnes $5 million a year to be, our coach and bring in all these recruits, but doesn't end up doing what he needs to do with those recruits to take us to the next level, I should say. Because we always end up falling short. Last year we fell short. We lost to Bama. Bama went on to the championship, SEC championship. Moved to the NCAA March Madness. We lost first round. I was expecting us, not going to lie, I was expecting us to lose to in the second round to Oklahoma State. But no, we lost to first round to Oregon State in the NCAA March Madness. So what I'm saying is, if Rick Barnes does not succeed or go to the SEC championship or wins an SEC championship, or at least go past the Sweet 16 with this team that he has right now, with his whole entire remake over of the team that he did. He basically flipped it from the inside out to bring in a lot more better players that he has. You know what? Let's look it up real quick. Let's look it up right now. Let's look that up real quick, shall we? Let me go to live. Am I connected? Am I like... I don't know. I don't know if I'm connected or not. I can't remember. But let's look that up real quick. 2021. Wait. Let's see. Tennessee. I'll go to Google. Go to Google. Tennessee basketball 2021 roster. Okay. Let's see if everyone's on here. Is everyone on here? No, everyone is not on here. Which, I'm sad, because everyone is not on here who I expect. Let's see. Will this give me my answers that I'm looking for? Will this give me the answers I'm looking for? No, it does not. You stupid. Let's see here. This is not what I'm looking for. I need options. But, what I'm saying, with the team that Rick Barnes has right now, with the players that he has brought in, and we're paying him $5 million to, recruit the way he needs to recruit, to bring in the players that he wants to bring in. He needs to turn it up a bit. I'll say that. Turn it up or take it up to the next level, I should say. At least, like, he's made it to the SEC championship before while he's at Tennessee. He's always fallen short when he's to expectations, because the year with Schofield and Grant, we lost to Purdue. That was Grant and Schofield should have been a team that should have been to the national to the NCAA championship game for basketball, but we ended up falling short because Purdue daggered us at the end. Heartbreaking. But he always brings in, this team, this talent, but end up falling short. And he has to prove that he can make it farther than where he's been going. Let's just say that. Because he's always fallen short, and we cannot keep falling short if we're going to keep bringing these recruits in, and if we're going to keep paying him $5 million. Because we're legit paying him $5 million for him to fall short every year when it comes to the SEC tournament and NCAA March Madness. I mean, I would love Rick Barnes to win an SEC championship here, and I would love for him to win him a NCAA championship game here. I would love for him to retire here. And I think he ends up retiring here. Let's just say that. But I think he needs to turn it up a little bit more, and because we're paying him $5 million. Come on. We're paying you $5 million, Rick Barnes, to bring in the recruits, and for letting you do what you want to do, Rick. Come on. It's time for you now to stop letting us down with all these good teams that you have. Just let the players be them, coach them up. You know, all you need to do, Barnes, is just coach defense. You know, let them have their offensive ways, and just coach them on the defense side of the ball. You know, you're a good defensive coach, but just let them be them on the offensive side of the ball. Do not hold them back, Rick. I think that's what Rick did last year when it came to Jaden Springer and Kenyon Johnson. I think he held them back a lot, even though Kenyon was probably the better player on the team. I'll say that. But overall, I think there's a lot of expectations going into next season. But as of tonight, I hope you guys, whoever watches my podcast, I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, I know it's gonna be rough. I know it's gonna be rocky for my very first podcast. I'm learning. I'm watching a lot more podcasts. I'm taking some notes. But from there, I hope you guys, come with me along with the journey. This year, I think it's gonna be fun. I plan on, bringing some people in. I'm going to try to be making a Discord here soon. Bringing some people in here soon. Talk with them. Ask them some questions. Hopefully, next time I do this, I'm going to have some, people live, and I'll answer their questions. I'll talk to them. Because usually at the end, I'm going to be, talking to some people, answering their questions and stuff. Toward the end of my podcast, like right now. But no one's really in here or asking any questions. Or I'll post on TikTok, ask me some questions. I'll answer them on my podcast. But like I said, hope you guys, come with me along in this journey. Like I said, there will be days I'll go live, and there will be days I'll just record a episode. So there will be some episodes where I won't, fully talk about Tennessee. There will be some episodes where I'll just talk about NFL or NBA or just life in general. I won't just talk about life in general, but rarely I'll talk about that rarely. But what I'm most likely will be talking about is sports. But overall, this is just going to be a sports podcast for me. I think my next podcast I'm going to be talking probably about the NFL or NBA, one of those two. I'll probably do my next podcast. I might go live probably Sunday after I get done playing pickup soccer. But till then, I hope everyone has a great Wednesday night, and I hope everyone has a great Thursday tomorrow. See you guys later.